Good morning, guys. I'm well covered, aren't I? Yesterday's video, there's a little bit of wind, so I've covered my head with a few layers, and here we are once again. Wednesday morning. Yes, it is Wednesday. Morning from me, morning from the boy. There he is, and morning from the builders, starting relatively early over here in Greenfield. Now, your number one focus and how to get started in fitness, fat loss, and lifestyle. Maybe we'll talk about distractibility as well, as Nelson runs after a flock of Canadian geese. Never going to catch him. And again, I said that before, it's kind of like a metaphor for our goals. As soon as we hit the goal, we almost automatically look towards the next one. Anyway, number one focus, right? What is the number one focus? I was chatting about this with Emma earlier on. In the sense that it's always, in my view, for where I am, knowing what I know, it's always going to be looking at the smaller things that we can improve. You might call them habits. Then again, if we just reflect briefly, we are creatures of habit. So the benefit of focusing on them are that we can easily introduce it within our own individual lifestyle. We can monitor the progression. But for me personally, it means it happens without conscious thought, especially if you're busy, if you look after other people, if you want to achieve long-term success. So that's where, for me, again, my personal view, habits are key. And as much as that's where we start, maybe that's where we also end. It's kind of a little bit of a loop, you could say. A good loop, though, not like the loop where you're going on one diet and you're doing one training plan and you're getting nowhere. Like a good loop where it's kind of a mindset, you could say. What's the next small thing that I can introduce that'll create the change that I'm looking for towards my long-term goals? Anyway, so habits. Starts with habits, finishes with habits. And as Nelson runs after more geese, uh, we have habits. They form behaviors, fixed patterns. We do it long enough, it becomes part of our belief system and then our identity. So there's a four-step process thanks to James Clear in the amazing book Atomic Habits. In terms of getting started, whatever that means, in terms of initiating said process, and let's keep it simple. Let's say it's exercising, drinking your water, having a good routine, whatever the thing is. It's not that it doesn't matter, but generally speaking, people know, or at least have an idea of the thing that they want to do. The information is freely available on Google, so often the sticking point can be implementation in doing it, and that's my aim with this video, is to facilitate that process. So, how to get started? Well, and again, it's got to be situational, it's got to be contextual, so I'm going to put my brain into a situational scenario in order to be able to convey some value, hopefully, before I get to the bridge. Let's say that you've got family, you've got kids, you want to drop a couple of stone, you want to look and feel your best, but you want to stick to it for the long term. And again, you're a bit like me, you're driven, you're committed, you're successful, and when you say you're going to do something, you do it. Sometimes at your own detriment, right? So all being there. In that case, if none of those are going to change, I'm always going to be busy, all right? I'm always going to have a list of injuries, all right? I'm always going to be looking to serve others. I'm always going to be, etc., etc., etc. You might be in a similar situation. You're like, yeah, I'm going for a job promotion. Like, doing this amazing thing in my business. It's like, well, if you're busy now, for example, and you've got a full timetable, and it's like, well, yeah, like I'm even watching this video while I'm making a brew, or listening to it while I'm driving a car, that sort of thing. Like, time is precious. The only thing we don't get back, by the way, the only thing we don't get back. Money comes and goes. Unfortunately, well, let's have another look. Unfortunately, there he is. There's the boy. He's not going to be here forever, so I may as well enjoy the time that we have. I mentioned to one of my clients, it's like, well, we're going to die anyway, so I may as well start living. He found that quite profound. Anyway, I'll get to my point. If things are not going to change in your day-to-day lifestyle, in your work commitments, in your responsibilities, and who you are as a person, then, the habits things help because that's achievable, manageable, progressive, and we can stick to it. Number one. Number two is there's never going to be a better time. Like, literally. Like, it is what it is. I'm not going to get less busy as I go forward. If you're a busy, successful business owner, think about it. You've got more time now than you're ever going to have, even though you've not got a lot of time. So maybe that's a pinch point in order to help you start this process, whatever it may be. Again, start simple, start honestly, and start with the basics. Become a black belt in the basics, see what results you get, and maybe, for example, if you don't have any fitness motivation, if you can't be bothered, that sort of thing. I'm mindful that I might be projecting here because I'm not really in the zone exercise-wise. I'm doing it, but it's not really that important. What is important is that you get where you want to be, you live your best life, and you inspire others on your journey. I do hope that's helped, and I'll speak to you, no doubt, very soon.